Fala, traders! Tudo beleza com vocês, meus brothers and sisters, traders? Hoje eu tenho a honra e o orgulho de ter aqui com a gente o Gates, eu falo brother trader para todo mundo, o nosso brother trader Gates, que é o host, o entrevistador do Trader Bacon Show. Trader Bacon Show é um programa desde o início da Apex, onde o Gates entrevista os traders que mais fazem saques na mesa proprietária Apex Trader Funding. Estamos conversando desde 2023 para fazer isso aqui acontecer e finalmente hoje está acontecendo. Então, estou feliz pra caramba. Eu sou muito ruim no inglês fluente, já até avisei ele, então se eu falar tudo errado aqui, enrolar, não se preocupem. Podem fazer perguntas para ele em inglês no chat, que ele vai ver as perguntas. Ou então em português também, que eu respondo para ele ali. Vamos falar um pouco sobre a Apex, sobre a história dele, sobre o programa Trader Bacon Show. Vamos falar, ouvir alguma história sobre algum outro trader, alguma história que tenha marcado ele ali, fazer perguntas e vamos ver o que acontece. Vamos ver como é que vai ser. Quem tá aí, tô vendo ali pouca gente, na verdade, né? Achei que fôssemos ter uma audiência um pouquinho maior. Temos apenas alguns brothers and sisters traders aqui, 89, mas tá tudo certo. Sexta-feira não dá para pedir muito. Vai ficar gravado também, depois vocês podem acompanhar. Boa noite a todos vocês, boa noite Sandra Keiko, Milton, Lucas, Alexandre, só NT, Lucas Alves, Reginaldo Pimentel, Túlio, Júnior Moraes, Jones Almeida. Cadê o homem? Estamos aqui, chegamos agora. Olha o Denis. O Denis já mandou em inglês lá. Hello, guys, who speak English? Não entendo nada. Não se preocupe, Denis. Não se preocupe. Vai ficar gravado ali e ali a gente vai trocando uma ideia. Estão por aí já? Estou vendo ninguém trocando uma ideia aí. Vamos então trazer aqui o nosso brother trader, o Mr. Gates. Me ajuda então a receber ele aqui. Pessoal, tá aqui o Gates. Good morning, traders. This is your saying.
Exactly. Yeah. Good morning, traders. Gates Adams here with the Trader Bacon Show. How's everybody doing, man? How much fun? I love being on the other side of the microphone, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, how's that feels?
You know what? It's wild. I did another interview today. I haven't done an interview from this side, being the interviewee, really much of ever, and then twice in one day. This is such a fun, just change of pace for me. I see several of you guys, particularly Dennis in the chat, throwing some English out there. Thank you guys for that. Yeah. My Portuguese is terrible.
Yeah. Well, man, first of all, thank you so much for being here. We are talking since 23.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
So
it's been a while.
This happen. Yeah. And finally you are here. So thank you for giving your time for us in this Friday.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Well, I want to start asking you how you started involving with this trading world.
Okay, I do have I have a pretty big story. My first shot at trading was in 1998. It's a bit of a sad story. My dad was a commercial real estate broker, but he was basically developing his own trading strategy. And unfortunately, he was diagnosed with cancer, and within 7 weeks, we lost him.
Oh, man. Sorry.
And thank you. I appreciate that. Now, this was for me. I wanted to sort of connect with him. So I took his notes and I learned his strategy. I didn't know anything about trading. I just figured I wanted to sort of connect with him, and it started going really well. So my mother said, hey, we had a $100,000 insurance policy. Go trade this. I said, okay. I mean, I'm 24 years old. I don't know anything about anything really.
Right.
And I start trading, and it's going really, really well. Within about 4.5 months, I took $100,000 and turned it into almost $700,000.
Oh, 14 age?
No, in about 4.5 months.
Oh, okay. Oh, 4.5 mil. Got it.
And then something happened, and the market shifted. And instead of winning almost every trade, I started losing almost every trade. And within a couple more months, I wiped out the account completely. I didn't know when to stop. I had no rules in place. I had no structure, right? Lost all the money. And we obviously were not thinking very clearly at this point. So we had this horrible decision to actually take all of the equity out of her house, a house that my dad had built almost 30 years before. And so we took all of the equity out, and I started trading that, and ended up losing all of that as well within a few more weeks. And so from top to bottom, almost $1 million I lost.
Oh man.
And it wasn't my money, it was my mother's money. And so it was, so within a few months of being widowed, she lost her husband, she lost my dad, and now she's broke. And I was the one who did it. I was the one who pulled the trigger. I didn't touch a chart for over a decade. But
back in there trading stocks?
Well, we were trading the QQQ.
Okay.
So mimicking the NQ basically, actually on a 2-to-1 ratio.
Yeah.
And so, I swore off trading forever, of course, but that didn't last. I mean, many years later, I don't know how much of your audience, or even if you know this, Daryl has been a friend of mine for almost 30 years. He's one of my best friends.
30 years?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We were kids when we met, right? So actually shortly after my dad passed. And, we became fast friends. Well, he learned to trade, and
So you are from Texas too?
What's that?
So you are from Texas too?
I am.
Oh,
yeah. You can see my Texas flag in the back over here, right?
Oh.
And
I didn't see it. See the details.
So he learned to trade, and he tried to teach me to trade, and I actually had the idea. I said, look, what you're doing, could you teach people? He says, yeah, maybe. And I kind of took some convincing, but he and I actually started Apex investing together. Now, I didn't last. I kept trying. I couldn't get into it. I had this sort of mental block. And so I ended up moving on, doing something else. And John, I've known even longer than Daryl. And so I had introduced them previously. So I actually connected them, and then they took off and created what they've created.
So you are the guy who told to Daryl to make the record of the how to trade. You are the guy?
I was the guy.
Oh man, I tell this story for everybody. I have several videos telling of these stories that I saw Daryl telling these stories in a lot of videos. But I always say, I don't know who is this guy, but this guy had one idea to Daryl record all his strategy, and boom, like that, the Apex investing emerged. So you are the guy.
I spent months working in a Starbucks, creating like logos and building out some of the web stuff in the background. I mean, I'd never done that before. I just kind of learned how to do it. But it like, we would go to events and people would ask me about trading. And I was a co-founder of a trading education company, but I had no idea what I was talking about when it came to trading. It was really embarrassing. It was very demoralizing. And Daryl just couldn't be everywhere at once. And so he got some other really great people in place, and people who could have those conversations. And ultimately, John was one of them. And so it was just time for me to step away. And I moved on. I did, other things forever. So I couldn't really get into it. But for years, Daryl has tried to coach me and develop me as a trader. And I couldn't do it. I really, really struggled. But in January of 2023, I decided I was going to make this happen. I was going to get through all of my issues. And so I traded, in fact, so now a little over 2 years ago. And I started trading, and I even started streaming my trading. If you go to my Facebook page, you can still see like all of my old streams and all of my old commentaries. And it was bad. Like I was not doing well. And by November,
a lot of things in common. I done this too. We have a lot of things in common. I done all this thing too.
Look, here's the thing. There are exceptions to every rule. I've met a few, but most people don't go learn trading, and in 6 months they're profitable. Sometimes, but not usually, right? It takes time. Yeah. And by November, I was so frustrated that I quit. That was November of 2023. But at this point, I'm doing the Trader Bacon show. I'm interviewing traders. I had interviewed 100 traders at this point, probably. And within a few months of quitting, I thought, I can't quit. Like this really, I'm not doing this right. I'm not being fair to myself, thinking that in 11 months I should be extremely profitable, right? So I got back in, but I took a very different approach. I hired a trading coach. I began.
Mr. Daryl.
No, it wasn't Daryl, actually. Daryl was a little too busy for me at this point. No, he's not. I still talk to him all the time, but I didn't want to impose on him. So I actually found somebody and I paid him to be my coach. Great. And his name is Kevin. He's unbelievable. He set the foundation for what ultimately has changed my life.
Yeah.
So I go through, I'm working with him, I'm studying different things, and I find a guy that is, through YouTube, I start watching his videos and everything just starts to sort of make sense.
Gotcha.
And I will say, and I know a couple people are asking about, the characteristics of traders that I've interviewed that are successful. One thing that I kept hearing over and over and over again was ICT, right? I did ICT and then I took it and I made it my own, right? And so when I started watching this guy, his name is Casper, if it's cool if I say that. Anyway, he simplified ICT in a way that just made sense to me because I can't sit there and watch 72 hours of ICT. I'm sorry, I'm just not that guy, right?
Yeah.
And so I started his program. I can't remember if it was October or November. And I've just been pouring time, energy, money into my progress and into my development. All the while, I started doing a podcast sort of going through my process is what I was really thinking it was going to help take to get me through this. And I'm happy to say that on March 11th, I put in my first payout request. I've gotten that first payout. I put in my second payout request. It's been approved. It's on its way.
Congrats for that one.
And today, sadly, I broke a 17-day winning streak and I had my first down day, but I treated it responsibly and I didn't go chasing it like I always had before.
All said inside your risk management.
Oh yeah. Risk management is everything. Like I have hard stops. I have some hard stops built into my account. If I hit it, my account shut down for the day.
So it's all good. It's all good. It's not a bad thing.
No, we're going to have losing days. I can't expect to win all of them, right?
Yeah.
But I was a little nervous. I'd had such a good winning streak that got me over this first payout. I really didn't know how I was going to handle that first losing day. And today I had the opportunity to do that. It wasn't easy, and I did almost remove the stops. I was tempted, and I actually went into the page where I could, and I'm like, "What are you doing? Don't do this."
Yeah, I know how it feels. We have another thing in common that you trade the 150 account.
Okay, so right now I have 950 accounts.
Okay.
One of them is I've been able to request a payout on. Second one, I got over payment threshold yesterday, but I dipped down today, so I've got to get it back up. So I have 950s, and then I have 5 more 50s, and then I have 5 more 50K evaluations. So I have 14 accounts live, 5 more PAs, and that just leaves me 1 away from 20.
But which size you like better?
50.
50.
Okay.
More than 150.
Right. That's not such an easy answer. It took the 150 to get me over the threshold.
Okay.
Because when I had that bigger target, but I also had the bigger buffer, I didn't trade really any bigger. I did a little bit in the beginning, but once I sort of got into the swing of things and started having a good streak, I was able to sort of scale down my trading and just take it a little bit more consistently. But as I'm sitting here growing the rest of my 150Ks and my 50Ks, I'm going to get payouts on the 550Ks long before I get payouts on most of those 150Ks that I've had 2 weeks longer. So I'm trading the same size. It's just a matter of finding what works based on your swings, right? I trade 3 micros typically at most, and on NQ, and so for me, it would take a lot of losses in a row to blow a 50K. As long as I stick to my rules. The problem for me in the past was not sticking to my rules. Yeah. It was I would lose $300 or $400, and then I would go on tilt, and then I'd end up blowing an account. Yeah, so that's why I put those hard stops in there. So like, it's not that I can't do it, but if I do it, I really have to make an effort to go in with changing those rules and blowing an account, which just creates a little bit more friction, stops me from doing it.
Yeah, but if you quit on November and getting back, when you're back?
So I quit November of 23, and I got back in February of 24.
And payout already? Fantastic job, man.
Okay, so February of 24. So it took me 13 months from that point to get a payout.
Yeah, it's fantastic job. We have a lot of. I had one student. Mm-hmm. His name is Carlindo. He has 14 PA accounts since 23. He's never made one single trade in one of his accounts, because he wants to get the 20 first to start trading all his PAs. So look how patient is this guy.
That's pretty patient.
Yeah. It's a fantastic job.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So let's talk about a little bit about the Apex.
Sure.
How I know the history about from the Daryl Martin, but what can you tell for us that no one's know?
Right. Okay. So first and foremost, let me say, I know Luis asked how involved am I with the rules. No, 0%. I am what is considered a part-time employee.
Okay.
I do stuff that revolves around marketing and social media. So I host the Trader Bacon show. I do interviews with successful traders, like little testimonial interviews where people get to share their stories. And so that's really what I do. So while I know these guys, I got to tell you, John in particular is like the hardest worker in the world. We don't get a chance to talk nearly as much as I would like. Daryl and I still communicate, but what we don't talk about is the business, because you know what? We have a lifelong friendship, and to us, that's really what's more important. I talk to lots of people about Apex. I want to talk to my friends about their lives.
Sure.
Yeah.
I do the same. Weekends, I don't want to talk about markets.
Right.
Yeah. Friday, 10 a.m. It's done. It's done. I slip the button here, turn everything off, and only come back on Monday.
Right.
So I think the rules, it's John things, isn't?
Well, look, they're strategic rules that basically revolve around risk management and developing successful traders. I think what a lot of people forget to understand is that the intention is to have live traders, because that's where the company actually gets to share in that revenue, right? That becomes a profit center instead of a liability, right? So what those rules represent, and I can tell you from personal experience, what those rules represent are things that Daryl used to tell me what to do before Apex Trader Funding existed, right? Don't risk too much on your trade. Don't go for those big, grand slams. Go for those daily base hits, So when it comes to the rules, it's about trading responsibly. It's about developing successful traders, right?
Sure.
And so, look, everybody has an opinion, right? But when I talk, because my job literally is to talk to successful traders. That is what I do all day, every day. And I will tell you, what I hear more often than not is I really struggled with the rules until I fully embraced them. And when I did, I realized that by following the rules, I actually just became a better trader. I didn't make the same mistakes that I'd been making over and over and over again. While maybe I got lucky and got to a payout threshold and got denied because I broke a rule, as I had I had a huge drawdown or a big grand slam day or whatever, right? When I stopped playing that game and actually started treating trading like a business, I didn't just get a payout. I got 10 payouts, right? And I hear this over and over and over again. Nobody likes to be constrained by rules. It feels like a job, right? But the reality is, when you look at the intention is successful traders.
Yeah, I love the rules, man.
Yeah.
I love the rules.
And the people who embrace them do better, in my opinion, from what I've seen.
I passed, I think, 3 months getting all my strategy to fit on the Apex rules.
Yeah.
So, and I'm learning a lot with your interviews, especially with the Vince.
Vince is awesome. I love Vince. Vince is great.
Yeah. So about the Apex, in Brazil we have a lot of concerns with scams around the road.
Sure.
Brazilian trader, it's a very concerned about scams.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you that, because here in Brazil, I probably I am the guy from the apex. You know, we call a support guy from the apex in Brazil. It's Adalto. You know, I answer, I don't know, maybe 100 questions per day about the apex. Right. Email, Instagram, YouTube, my students. You know, so I know what they are thinking about the apex. Which were the main concerns. Sure. The main concerns of all those guys, especially those who came from forex, IK options, you know, it's about the apex in sense of scam, you know. So I have a lot of difficulty to put the apex as a legitimate business because I'm seeing this. This is my life, you know. Right. So for me, it's easy to understand this, but for a lot of Brazilians, it's not so easy, you know.
Look, again, everybody's going to have an opinion, and somebody who gets their payouts denied is not going to be happy about that. But at the end of the day, when you agree to a set of rules, you've got to follow them, right? Because there are other options. You can trade your own money, but that's not an option for a lot of people, right? But when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, the number that hits me is over $440 million paid to traders. That number is so big that there are people inside the company that can't fathom what that really means. So this is not a company who is intentionally denying payouts. This is a company who has paid out $440 million in less than 4 years. I get it. I get it. We feel like we accomplished something, and I got to that payout threshold, and I was counting on that money, and it's not there. Well, it sucks. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, but there is a reason for that, and the reason for that is really to protect legitimate traders. When you open certain doors, there's a tax on stuff like that, and we want to make sure that we are clean. I say we, I mean, the company, the company has to be clean in order to always be there to continue to pay out another 400 million, another billion. Can you guys, we're almost at $500 million.
Yeah, man, it's a lot.
That's insane.
Insane. It's huge. It's huge.
So the idea is to continue to grow and create an even bigger opportunity. And I mean, that's all the company's ever really been about. And it's, look, you grow that fast, there are struggles, there are challenges, there are things that you have to figure out for sure.
Yeah, I saw the problems on the last summer. Yeah. And I think if Apex survived to those attacks from scammers around the road, so it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. That's my opinion. But I really want to hear more from you about this, just to tranquilize all Brazilian traders. There are trying to or considering start to trading with Apex.
Well, and that's the thing. The opportunity is whether you're shooting for an extra couple $1,000s a month, which, I think in Brazil goes a lot further than it does in the US, or your goal is to be the next $1 million trader. I mean, there's a framework. There is a precedent that has been set multiple times now, and the intention is to continue to make that opportunity even bigger and better as the company continues to grow, but also this industry. The industry of prop firms is like anything else. It's an ever-changing environment. So the idea is to just make it as appealing as possible to traders. Yeah, because that's what makes everybody win.
Yeah, and something from the future, if we have some news.
Look, I don't know anything from the future. I see some of the questions.
I mean big announcement on when gets to the $500 million, 90% maybe. I don't know.
Well, look, $500 million is just around the corner. Let's see, what is it? The end of March. I don't know because I'm not involved in any of that side of it. But my guess, based on the trajectory, is that it will probably happen in May. But that's yet to be seen. It could happen in April. It could happen in June. I mean, it's going to be somewhere around there because they're paying out tens of millions of dollars a month. As far as look, even if I did know, which I don't, even if I did know, of course, I couldn't say anything. I couldn't, expose anything or announce anything beforehand, right? I know that they've built some pretty amazing things. I don't know if you have, or any of your group has tried working with wealth charts. If you like trade copiers, that is by far the cleanest trade copier because it's built in. Again, it's new. It's not without its glitches, but there's so much intention and time and energy being built into that. I think it's probably going to be by far the best trading platform. Again, everything has to develop. Nothing, I mean, things are being created out of thin air that never existed before because of the massive level of success that the company has seen, which includes the massive success that Apex traders have seen.
Gotcha. Let's talk a little bit about the traders that you already interviewed. Maybe some history that marks you. But first, you start. Let me tell a little about my own history. Mm-hmm. That's okay. I never told my history in English. Let's see how it goes. Let's see if I can do that. A little bit common things with me and you, because I trade NEQ, and I like the 150 accounts, and the 2023 was my year. Mm-hmm. Was my year. So the beginning of 2023, I was starting my 241 week as a full trader,
right?
Full-time trader. And I always have, as a lawyer and other business, free time to trade all day. Mm-hmm. That's why I be able to be a trader for those 5 years straight.
Right.
But with one single detail, no $1. No $1. Only losing money. And I'm over there. And this year, in 22, the final of the 22, I lost my father on April of this year, 22. The October 22, I lost my job. I lost everything.
Yeah.
I lost my main income. I had nothing back in there. So I start January on 23, as you, with a loan from bank to restart again. Mm-hmm. Let's see what happens. Had no money, a lot of debts, wife, kids, my house. And I rent, my house was full back in there, a lot of kids, that a lot of people in my house. I can't work, I can't trade. So I made another loan to rent a small business, a small place for start trading alone. And payroll February from 23, I lost everything again.
Oh, wow.
Trading Brazil. Then that moment, I already have nothing, and that was start the end. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you get that. So I passed through months. Monday, Friday, I went to the office just to not to have to face my wife. Mm-hmm. I got home late because I just not face my wife. I have one carpet here. I don't know if you've seen this carpet, brown carpet here, brown carpet.
Yeah, under the chair.
Yeah, in the other office, I laid down and put my face in this carpet and cried like a baby because I was completely lost. No money to trade, no money to trade Brazil, no money to trade CMA, no money to trade anything. How I'm going to trade this? No way. And make a small money just to pay a little bills over there to try to surviving with a big amount of debts. And July, I was in my bad moment. Bad moment. I own a gun, a Glock 1, 100% legal. And in the old office, used to stay here inside my table, on my table here, next to the mouse. Every day, I look to my gun, and I considering several times to take my own life because I had nothing more to do. I'm maybe in 30 or 40, 50 days, I will probably I in that moment I will lost my house. I will lost probably, I almost lost everything because I had nothing in that moment. And in one day, Wednesday night, I was in the carpet Wednesday night, and I was crying, like a sad movie, like a sad movie. And I used to say that was my father that introduced me Apex Trader Fund. And that day, I knew that a bunch of traders will talk about the NQ in one live. And was like this time, about this time, 7 p.m. And I just a click, no, get up, go watch this live. Go hear what those guys are going to talk about the NQ. And they start the live and they say, oh no, today the subject, it's about the prop firm. Like, oh man, I want to hear about the NQ, not Apex, not prop firm.
Yeah.
That's why I tell you it's my father thing.
Yeah.
My gun, right in this next on my mouse. I sat in the chair in front of the screen. Those guys talking about the Apex. Then they say, how much would you pay to trade for NQ? I mean, for NQ at CMA? For NQ? Well, in reals, 10,000 reals, more or less $2,000, $2,000. I pay that. And they say, you need only 14. You need only $14. 14? You say that? Do you say that right? $14? No, man. No. Yeah, $14. Mr. Gates, in that moment, I grabbed my gun, put it inside the safe, and never thinking kill myself again.
It's amazing.
Was that day was a Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, I approved my eval. First 150K eval. Back in there, we still made we need to trade, have 7 trades,
right.
7
yeah,
7 days trading to get the PA. And I know you are very close to Daryl Martin, so I wanna ask you if you can do something for me.
Okay.
When you see the Mr. Daryl Martin again, can you do something for me?
I can.
Man, please give this man a big hug, a strong hug, because I can tell you, Mr. Gates, Apex Trader Fund saved my life, man. Saved my life. I can tell you.
I can absolutely do that, and it will be an honor to do so for you.
Those next months, man, my first PA, second PA, my first payout. A lot of guys asking me how to do it. I started the NT, that's my program. Man, the rest is history. This was a life-changing for me. Life-changing, man. So
I'll have you consider, Alto, it's not just your life that was changed that day. You told me how many people you've served, coaching and training and teaching. I see all of these people in this chat, and every single one of them has the opportunity to have their life changed in some way. It may not be as extreme as yours. It may not be as extreme as mine. But every one of us has a story. And because you chose to continue to fight, not just you, but all of these people, you've had an impact on them. And that's what it's all about, man. This is why I do what I do.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for that. And I try to make a meet with Mr. Darrow by talking on the chat, the support help desk.
Mhm.
We almost scheduled something, but I don't know if he or something who works with him. I don't know, but never happened. And I love going to the US. In May, I'm going to Miami. Next May, I'm going to Miami. So that's my history. A little bits about my history. That was how I start trading using the Apex. And I used to say I have much more money inside the Apex than in my pockets, because I have a lot of PA accounts that I can request payout, but I have a lot of fear. I have a big fear of losing or do not have a payout for the next month. So I schedule everything. I program everything here in my life to always get at least something month by month, to get some payout. So I want to hear from you another history that marks you in any way. I hear about one, the homeless guy. That it's.
So I've had three people who have gone from homeless to homeless.
Three people
that I've had the opportunity to get to know.
Nice.
First one, a girl named Stephanie. She was one of my very first interviews on the Trader Bacon show. She was living out of her car. It's been a minute. I don't remember all of the details, but she used to go to a McDonald's to get on their Wi-Fi. She managed to get a hold of an old laptop that probably should not be used for trading, because you need a little bit of power in these things, on a McDonald's Wi-Fi.
Okay.
And she managed to get out of being homeless. This guy's become a friend of mine. He and his girlfriend were living out of a car. He's fought, just his whole life has been a struggle and a fight. And he has just managed to develop a skill of trading, but there was just absolutely no way he was ever going to be able to execute it. I mean, he couldn't come up with $500 to open an account, much less a couple thousand, right? Yeah. And he managed to trade his way into a home, a life. I mean, he's still working on himself in a lot of ways. He and I still communicate pretty regularly, but he has made amazing strides, and I just love talking to him, because every time I talk to him, he's improved his life that much more. Another gentleman in Canada, his wife, and his young son were bouncing from one couch to another of friends that would let him stay for a little bit, but nobody could let him really stay for very long. So he would go from one person's home to another person's to another person's. Yeah. This guy, in a matter of a few months, made 6 figures of payouts in US dollars, and bought a condo in Toronto, like in a high rise, like pretty luxurious place. Nice. Like by the time he started getting into the swing of things. So those of course stick out. But I think what really sticks out to me is the everyday people. I mean, it's great to hear these extreme stories, but when you talk about, I think about all the what I refer to as the COVID babies, the kids that, the people that lost their jobs because COVID started, they were at home, they had nothing else to do. So they started trading Bitcoin, and, sometimes maybe they made a lot of money real fast and they thought they were good. Well, that was always the kiss of death. They'd lose it. And then they figured out there was an opportunity, but they needed to learn something. And with no longer having those resources, that they found an opportunity for $14, $16, $32 or whatever, be able to start building an empire. I talk to people who have developed a consistent income of like $500 a week. This is just what they do. This is like their side money. A buddy of mine, he just had a baby. He found out his wife was pregnant, so he needed to make a little more money. He was working in a retail music studio, right? Not studio, but like a guitar shop sort of thing.
Yeah.
And he was the repair guy. He repaired guitars for not a lot of money, but he loved what he did. And so he realized he's about to be a dad. He needs to have a little bit more of an income. But he just wants to work on music instruments, right? So he started trading. He took the money that he earned from trading, started his own guitar repair business. Now he like I'm friends with him on Facebook. He's always posting these amazing guitars that he's been working on. This is his passion. He has a strategy that allows him to just basically look up every few minutes and see if there's an entry coming. And if there is, he'll stop and he'll trade. And if not, he'll go back to working on the guitars. Changed his life. It's not always about that trading income. It's about that opportunity that you get when you realize that you have something else. We can't all trade morning sessions. Some of us, have that quote unquote 9-to-5 job and it's just not possible. Well, it's futures. We can trade 23 hours a day. You just find something that works with the time that you have available. And if you're committed,
it will happen.
You have it. The one thing that I can say to everybody out there, if you haven't figured it out yet, the one thing that having funding gives you is time. Because for me, I couldn't continue trading if I had to make a deposit every time I wanted to try trading again. I've done this enough times, and quite frankly, it was emotionally crippling for me. But I could afford 4 evaluations a month if that's what it took to get there. I could do that for the rest of my life and continue to try trading. I mean, I've really been at it, if you consider, starting at the beginning of 2023, a little over 2 years. And I mean, how many times have I lost $2,500 and had to start over? If that was real money, it's gone, right? I can't continue to do this. But I could continue to get a new evaluation every week, every month. I could get pay for a new PA every month and still fail and start over again. I could do this forever.
Exactly. But this is a kind of a problem too, because once it's very easy to get the eval, very easy to blow the PA account and do it over again and again and again and again, makes easy for who is starting trading to Apex or prop firm to do not do some nice work as a professional. So how can you help all the beginners to do not go through that way?
I equate it to, if you like video games, if you get an Xbox and you lose your game, right? You just start over. You just hit a button and you start over, right?
Yeah.
But when I was growing up, if we lost the game, we had to put in another quarter. It cost us money. Well, a quarter wasn't a lot of money, but I'm 7, 8, 9 years old, right? It was a lot to me.
Yeah.
To me, that's the evaluation, right? So you can trade in sim for years, and you could make millions of dollars in sim, and then jump into live trading or even an evaluation. The second you change the dynamics, your results are going to change because the psychology changes, right? So to me, it's like that quarter. Yeah, it's not going to cost me that much, and I'm not going to take it that seriously. But if I play this game long enough, I'm going to get to the next boss. And that next boss is maybe passing the evaluation. The next boss is getting that first payout. That next boss is getting that first 5-figure payout. That next boss is getting $100,000 payout, right? So if you play the game long enough, you're just going to get better, right? No, it's not the same as trading real money, but it's also something that you can continue to do for years in most cases. And for me, it's been years. It's been a lot of years, right? For you, it was a lot of years. Imagine that in the very beginning stages, it was just $30 each time.
Yeah, that's why I embrace all the business from Apex, because this is the way, the better way. We have a lot of sad stories in Brazil. I have a lot of students. Myself, I lost a lot of money too. And who is starting in this business, in the day trade business, that's the best way. The best way to make it happen, and the best way to give up too.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
But my concern as a mentor is this, because I saw a lot of students, they can't get out of this gamification of the trading, because it's cheap, it's easier, blow account, reset, blow account, reset, blow account, reset, and they can't get out of this cycle,
Here's the thing, and I look, I want to let you all know, I see all of the comments in there, and gosh, I would love to answer each and every one of your questions. We would be here for hours. And I would absolutely be up for coming back and doing more of a Q&A if that's what you guys want. I'm happy to do that.
Sure.
But this last comment, the difference is that we lose money restarting all the time. Yes, 100%. Look, funding is a business. The only way that they can pay you out is if they have money to pay you out with, right? The difference is to have an equivalent chance as one evaluation for, call it $30 at 80% off, right? Is to deposit $2,500. How many times do you get to do that? For that same $2,500, you could trade for 2 years if you're responsible. In 2 years, you will have significantly more experience and knowledge and understanding how the markets move. It's not about the fact that it's not going to cost you money. It's going to cost you money.
Sure.
You have to be committed. You have to be all in. Otherwise, they'd figure out a way to make sim profitable. It just doesn't work, right? But if you're committed and you're willing to invest in yourself, I'd rather invest $32 and then maybe $125 when I pass it versus trying to invest $2,500 and make a go at it, because I only got one shot, one chance. And realistically speaking, for most traders, the first time they deposit any money, it's a miracle if it lasts 90 days. You get 3 months and that's maybe it. And most people, it won't last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So take that same $2,500 and make it last 2 years until you get good.
Well, your time is running, right? So
it is.
Yeah. Well, we can do that again. So I saw a lot of questions here, and I'm so thankful. I appreciated your time. We make it happen, and this is your house. If you want to come back and talk a little bit more about your experience with a bunch of traders, a bunch of millionaires traders, you are very welcome.
I appreciate it. I will absolutely love to come back. I will say, look, I know everybody wants to ask all the apex questions. Javine, I can't answer tax questions legally. It is absolutely illegal. I'm happy to answer any questions that I can. Obviously, when it comes to inner workings of a company, I'm not at privilege to do that, nor do I really even know. Like I said, I'm kind of the part-time. I always joke that I'm on my own little island doing my own little thing. Everybody thinks since I know Daryl, I know everything. I don't. And of course, there's things that I just can't say ethically, right? I love talking about my story, about my history, because my hope is that it's inspirational to other people, because it would have been easy for me to give up, and I did many times, but I kept coming back, and I really think that persistence is probably the biggest trait someone needs to have if they want to continue to be, or if they want to grow into being a successful trader. I love having those conversations. Can I plug my podcast?
Sure.
You guys want to know more about me?
Sure. Well, in fact, it's about on its own description.
Oh, it is?
It's the
Forged Trader podcast?
Yeah, I put the Instagram.
Sweet. Okay. Yeah. Guys, go check it out. If you want to know more about my story and what I've actually been doing myself to get here, because it took me 13 months when I decided to get serious. And I documented a lot of the early process, and I will apologize. I took a 7-month break. I had a lot of things going on in my life that I just couldn't deal with, having that extra commitment. But it's back on, and I will be continuing to share my story as I continue to grow, and I'll be continuing to communicate with other traders and bring them into the show as well. So maybe I need to reciprocate and have you over on my podcast.
Sure. Anytime. Just let me know. And when we have a new video, a new episode?
Trader Bacon Show. Okay, first, Trader Bacon Show will be Monday. We have a really cool episode on Monday. If you guys know who Peter Tuchman is and David Green, they are amazing. These guys are legends in the world of trading. They're going to be on the show Monday, and that will be on the Benzinga channel, a YouTube channel at 11 a.m. Eastern time, and that's the Trader Bacon Show. The Forge Trader, I've got my guys putting up the most recent interview. That should hopefully, I'm hoping it's up today. I actually don't know. If not, it'll probably be up Monday. It'll probably be not next week. My podcast guy is out of town next week, so it'll probably be the week after. I will have a new episode where I talk about my first couple of payouts, some of my experience. By the way, it took 6 business days for me to get my first payout approved. There is no favoritism. I have to wait too.
Takes a lot. My last one, I think, was 4 days.
Right.
Yeah, it was so fast. It was so fast.
Well, and that's the thing. I know a lot of people like, yeah, I got my payout approved in 15 minutes and I had the money the next day. That happens sometimes, but it doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes you gotta wait. Exactly. And even me, I even have to wait. So it's just the nature of the beast. There's a ton of stuff going on, and the company has grown so fast. It's really hard to keep up sometimes, but I know that the commitment is to continue to grow and develop to the point where things happen quicker and smoother and easier than they have. And I know they've done an amazing job this far. So,
yeah, well, this is great. This is huge. And I want to let you know that if you or Apex or anyone need something in Brazil, I don't know, maybe something to talk to traders. Anyway, anything, I'm here.
I appreciate that, man. And let's stay in communication. Like I said, I see all these questions and I want to answer them. I want so bad to answer them.
Yeah,
we'll get stuck.
Thank you.
Let me know if you want to come back and do more of a Q&A. We'll do it, and I'll just chat with the audience. I love that.
That's great.
I'll connect with you. I'll bring you up on the podcast and spend some time with you there. And I don't know, maybe my wife and I need to do a little vacation in Brazil and go have some fun.
Let me know.
All right, brother.
I'd be glad to have you here.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. And thank all of you in the chat. You guys have been great. I really appreciate you guys hanging in there with me. I know there's a lot of questions that still got unanswered, but maybe you guys can have me back.
I will say that in Portuguese so you feel how we say here. Gates, muito obrigado por você estar aqui. Muito obrigado mesmo. Gostei demais. Eu estava esperando por essa entrevista desde 2023. Muitíssimo obrigado. Fiquei muito feliz. Espero ter você de volta aqui. Muito obrigado e até a próxima. Thank you, man.
Thanks, brother.